Hey everyone, this is Drive at Shaw, and I was gonna show you how to be a director. So to set everything up, you have to make sure the TVs are on, so you can actually see what you're doing and see all the cameras and everything. And then you go through the switchers, so you see if they work, so you can get different shots. And make sure they're all in focus and they look good. So that's how you set everything up. And when you're operating it, when it's filming, you always want to have the preview on so you can switch between the cameras so you know what shot you want. And then to get the shot to be up on the screen, you press the space. So then it's up on the screen and everything's all right. To actually record, you would press the red button here twice, so then it actually starts recording and you can do your shots. And you always have to watch the cameras to see who's going to be talking next, and like sometimes switch to reaction shots so then it keeps it fun. And if you want to do a fantastic job of your directing, you always want to talk to your camera staff so they know who's up. And you have the script next to you so then you can see who's going to be talking, and so everything is fine. And don't yell into the mic because it really hurts their ears. So you don't want to be hurting your camera staff. And yeah, that's all you really need to know.
Hello. So, I'm supposed to be teaching you how to do audio for Drive at Shaw. So 3 things you should know about setting up audio is make sure the switcher board is on. Most of the time when we already show up at Shaw, it will already be on. But if it isn't, there's a button at the very back that is the on and off switch of the board itself. And make sure that the hosts are mic'd properly. So, for example, our hosts currently are like sitting across from each other. So if they are at an angle and like looking at people, make sure their mic is like on their right, and vice versa. Make sure it's plugged in so that when it goes left to right, it's like mic 1, mic 2, mic 3, mic 4. And 3 things you should know about operating the equipment is to make sure everyone is on the proper mic that they're supposed to be on. And then watch the master level. So on the board there is a lot of lights in like a row. And for instance, like if I were to turn up mic 1, the lights will start to go and there's numbers on them. So you want the numbers to be generally around 0 to 7, around that area. If it gets into the yellow or red, it's way too loud, and you don't want it in the negative numbers. And don't mute the hosts when the clips are playing if the playback is working that day. Because above every mic slot thing, there's a mute button, and you don't want to mute them because like everyone's voice changed. So like when videos are playing, just kind of like turn it down slowly and just leave it there, and try to remember roughly where on the dial it was located. And 3 tips for doing a fantastic job. Don't touch the master level. So they have a slide for the main mix, which if you were to like have, let's just turn on these 2 mics.
Actually, yeah, that's very helpful.
If I turn down the main mix, it turns down all of the mics at once. So you want to leave that up at all times. And keep your fingers on the sliders. So like if their voice kind of like goes from like quiet to loud to quiet, you can adjust accordingly. And pay attention to what the hosts are doing. So if someone says something funny or whatever, and you kind of estimate that the other hosts are gonna like laugh, you can turn it down a little bit to keep the audio levels A-okay. And that's what you gotta know. Hello. So, how does one work camera at Shaw Studios?
I don't know.
First thing you should do is turn it on, because you know, how does one work a camera if you don't turn it on? On button is typical on button. Yeah, but it's already on, so I don't have to press that. To move like the height of the camera is this weird wheelie thing to like push it down. It's really stuck and sticky.
It's quite tough.
Yeah. And this little knob thing is for focusing. But there's no people on there, so it's hard to focus. Well, let's focus on Jazz. So when there's like a lot of grain around, that's when you know it's focused. But like when there isn't, then it's out of focus. Make sure you focus on the eyes and stuff. This weird knobby thing is for zooming.
My 8-block class has a hard drive with all the video clips ready to go. So we just
Good shot.
take these individual breaks. I know the hard drives are under somewhere.
To like change the lighting within the camera and not like just the lights in the room, there's like this little wheel. You just move and it changes the aperture. Make sure that like your shot is clear and set up how the director wants to be set up, which we have to wear these fancy headsets. Doesn't fit my head very well, but yeah, it's fine. And don't sit on a stool when you're doing that, because it's unprofessional. Okay.
You mean this stool?
Yeah, that stool.
This one?
That exact stool.
You sure?
Yes. And others.
Okay.
Yes.